Welcome back, everyone, to SwansCast on what has been another topsy-turvy week for Swansea City, as always. Two matches to talk about this week, and we're also going to touch on a little bit of a kind of 3/4 away through the season review, I guess. Russell Martin, been in the job 7-8 months now, so we're going to kind of analyse where we think he is and how the sort of style is coming along. And we are joined today, so I've got Lee with me as always. Welcome back, Lee.
Hello.
And Sean's come for his debut appearance, so welcome, Sean.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I don't know if you want to introduce yourself a little bit more or tell everyone where, if you want to share your Twitter, you don't have to, but...
Well, I don't post anything on Twitter, so...
Fair enough. On
work...
OnlyFans, isn't it?
Shh, don't tell everyone. So I worked with Luke and Lee in Pre-Mark, the golden era. It's like the golden years of the Swans, isn't it?
Yeah, back in the day.
Prime time.
And well, I've been hoping to get on for a while, so I'm glad you asked me, Lee. But yeah, I'm happy to be here.
It'll be good. Yeah, that's where we all met. Back probably like 10 years ago now, probably
God,
like 12 years ago or something.
That's mad, that is.
Yeah, so Sean's come to join us for the ride today. How's your week been then, Lee? What have you been up to?
Not much, to be honest. It's been quiet. Cheltenham last week, enjoyed that. Got some winnings in. Actually, I was up for the first time ever, I think, on the horse
racing. You were reluctant to get involved at the start until I gave you a bit of push.
Yeah, and there was a lot of free bets, and I did quite well. And now that's it, really. The sun's been out.
How much is
it? Gardens are starting to open. Oh, I was up about 30, 40 quid, I think, for the week off free bets.
Oh,
so I'll take that. I'm reluctant to put massive bets on. I wish I did, though, because if I'd upped the stakes a bit, I would have been laughing. But no, I'll take that, because my betting record's horrific.
I've stopped. I'm terrible.
Well, yeah, Cheltenham, I think I won about 90 quid, but
not bad.
Probably put on about 70 by opening several accounts to get use of all the free bets. So it was kind of like paying for itself as it went along, but ended up in profit at the end. But some near misses, some big ones. But what could have been, eh? What could have been? Yeah, Sean, what have you been up to lately then? Just
not a lot. Work. That's pretty much it.
So we've had a couple of debates in the early parts of the last couple of videos. First of all, it's what you order at McDonald's.
Yeah.
What would I order at McDonald's?
Yeah.
It's got to be Chicken Legend.
Yeah,
every day.
Same as Lee.
Well, love a Chicken Legend.
And the other one was doors or wheels.
Doors or wheels?
Yeah, how many more doors? He hasn't heard. I was in a year. It's been everywhere. There's been something going around the internet, basically. Do you think there's more doors or more wheels in the whole world?
What a random thing that is.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from, but...
Wheels or doors? Doors?
Lucky Lee and lucky mate.
That's fine. That's just an initial.
It's definitely doors.
When did that start? That's the first I've heard of that.
I don't know where it started, but I think you need to go and open Google.
I'll look into that.
Yeah. Give that some. Going back to McDonald's, though, like back when we all used to work together. Remember they used to do the Chicken Legend with the salsa, and it just disappeared. That was the best thing ever.
Yeah, but COVID's got rid of the flipping breakfast wrap. That's like travesty.
I was never a big fan of breakfast at McDonald's.
Nah, not me.
The breakfast wrap was the best one out of all of them.
Only the hash browns are good, but nothing else. Like people like the McMuffins, don't they? I can't stand them.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Don't have a McMuffin. The wrap is like, because the wrap's thin, isn't it? And then you get all the breakfast ingredients in the wrap, including the hash brown. Who's banging? But they got rid of it. Like, what the hell? They didn't even replace it. Well, they got the breakfast bun now, which is not the same.
Have you tried the chicken Big Mac?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. That's how it came up last time.
Yeah.
What do you think of it? Yeah,
I wasn't chicken sandwiches. Like,
I definitely going back to Chicken Legend. I've tried it once. I'm done now.
You've done it now, yeah. Go back to what you know when I play safe.
It's not great. It's not great. But yeah, as always, then don't forget, if you are listening, a lot of you are not subscribed. We're trying to get to 500. We said we're going to do a giveaway when we get there. So click the big red button. Help us grow as a channel. We ultimately aim to get to 1,000, and that's where we hope to push on properly as a channel. It unlocks a lot more features for us on YouTube, so would really appreciate any help. And don't forget to click the like button as well, and get involved in the comments with anything that you disagree with or agree with that we talk about. I'm sure there'll be a couple of things that you'll have your own opinions to air, so we'd like to hear them. Starting off then, obviously we've got 2 games to talk about. Got the win up at Peterborough and the draw to Birmingham at home. We're not going to necessarily touch on them straight away. Bits might come up, but we're going to sort of talk about Russell Martin and kind of like a review so far as we go into the last quarter of the season ahead of another international break, which is quite a big one actually for Wales. Before maybe we look at Martin then, should we have a quick roundup? Do you think Wales are going to do it?
I'm going to say yeah. I'll be positive.
I don't know. I'm not confident.
I think
I just
did Ancelotti say Bale was a doubt for Wales? I read something.
Yeah,
today,
he
I'm
wasn't
sure
in. Wasn't in the Real Madrid squad, was he, over the weekend?
No, that's dodgy.
I don't know. I just think like there's always a chance we can get Bale on the pitch. If you can get Bale on the pitch and Ramsey on the pitch, there's always a chance we can beat. We could probably beat anybody on a day. But I just think we're just over reliant on those 2 being fit.
I don't think he's done much lately, though, is he, for Wales? Got to be on the pitch, but
he hasn't been the same for a while.
He's not carried us since the Euros, I wouldn't say.
No. We're relying on players like Dan James to step up then on me, I think.
I think Ramsey scored his first goal for Rangers, didn't he, the other day?
Yeah, in the weekend, yeah.
It hasn't been the best loan move, is it?
He's been injury prone, hasn't he? That's the thing.
Same with Bale. And they're going to be gone off the international scene soon, so what's next, isn't it? So it might be like best chance in a while, this.
Oh, yeah, to get to a World Cup. This is why I'm a bit nervous. I think if they can do it this time, so it's our best chance ever, probably, to get to well,
so
since
we
were last
got
there.
Who we got this time?
Austria.
Remind me. Austria, and if we win
Austria.
that, potentially Scotland, was it?
I don't know what's happening
or
because
Ukraine.
I don't know what's happening with Ukraine though. So I don't know what's happening with Scotland.
Yeah,
Are
I
they
didn't. I'm
allowed
guessing
to
they're not
play?
playing the game this week, are they? I can't remember.
Yeah, I got no idea. I don't know how it's going to work.
I think they are going to try and play it. They haven't said they've like cancelled it. I think they are going to try and play it, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be played this week because we have the winner of Scotland and Ukraine if we go through.
Yeah, I mean, if it is Ukraine and we lose, we'll just say, the motivation or whatever. Nah, I'm joking. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I guess I thought I saw that Russia and Ukraine couldn't play matches at the moment, so I don't know whether they'll have to wait.
Just having a look now. Scotland are playing a friendly against Poland because Poland was supposed to play Russia.
Russia, wouldn't they? Yeah.
So
but they refused to play regardless of them being allowed or not.
Yeah. So they've Scotland and Poland. They're just going to play each other in a friendly.
So is there like a deadline though? Obviously the.
No idea.
Yeah,
it's got to be sorted, isn't it, at some point?
Yeah.
Is it not the end of this year, the World Cup?
In summer, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
No,
oh God, yeah, it is.
When is it?
It's December, isn't it?
December, yeah, that's right,
isn't it?
Yeah.
But
it is this year. Yeah.
It feels weird because the Euros was last year, but obviously the Euros got delayed a year.
Yeah.
So obviously there's a deadline on when they can actually. It's not like they've got another year until the tournament to sort of sort that out, because it's obviously a semi-final as well. So it's not like it's just one team affected. Like whoever wins out of our game can't play the next match until.
Yeah, it's all up in the air at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't really know what the best answer is either, but I guess we'll find out sooner or later. But we're not here to talk about Wales, so let's go on to Russell Martin. Overall, then, no, like, don't be emotional off the back of what might have happened in the last game. But for the season so far, Sean, how are you feeling about Russell Martin in charge of Swansea?
I've calmed down now after the weekend. Looking at it, I think when he came in, I kind of feel sorry for him because he didn't have a full pre-season. It was last minute. As soon as he got in, we had a game on the Saturday. So didn't have enough time with the players. I think we had a little bit of a good spell about October, November. I think we had a couple of wins under our belts. I think the whole thing with Patterson, and I think that's messed things up. And since then, I don't think we've been the same. I think we're gradually getting worse. I just think we have a lot of possession. We're not doing anything with it. We're just passing it along the back, side to side, backwards. It's not hurting teams. Teams have sussed us out. And they can catch us for pace. There's a long ball over the top all the time. Teams are in. It's easy to play against us. And people say, trust the process. Well, I haven't seen anything to suggest that we're improving so far. So I'm a bit worried in that respect. But I think in the summer, I think that's when you can probably judge him. So he'll have a chance to bring his own players in. He'll have more time with them as well. So I think next season will be the time to judge him. I'm not going to say Martin out now. I'm a bit frustrated with him. I think Blackpool the other day, I think, what did he say after the game?
He said that it was a good performance.
Yeah, but passing around the back. And
but he did clarify. He did clarify in that interview, which the headline didn't catch. We did.
Did he clarify? Yeah.
He said he's happy with the performance in regards to the style of playing a possession-based football and playing up from the back and all that sort of stuff. And when you compare it against like some of the other away games, for example, Sheffield United and Stoke, it was a much better overall showing. But then he also said the attack was far from good enough for what he needs them to be doing.
I'm not convinced on him yet, to be honest. I think, like I said, next season will be the time. I'm willing to give him a chance. But so far, it's hard to say. But it's not looking good at the minute.
Lee, what about you?
I don't know. I've had a bit of a turbulent relationship with Martin all year. I think. Yeah, it has. It has been. It seems to. I was thinking about it the other day, and I was trying to think, and I'll ask you too as well. I was thinking, have we had a bad season with a few good results, or has it been a good season? And I was thinking, I think it's been a bad season overall, because I think the poor performances well outweigh the good performances. You could probably count on one hand where we've been really good in games. You think like maybe Cardiff at home, and then the West Brom game, that sort of time. The Sean was talking about, like October, and then I don't know, maybe Coventry away and Coventry home, where we played really well. Peterborough home, I think we won 3-0. And outside of that, I can't think of a time where we've put like a good 90-minute performance together.
No,
our home form has been quite good, to be fair.
I know. I just think I'm just expecting. I'm not saying with like people saying Martin out. We'll take that off the table completely because I'm nowhere near that. We'll take that away. But I am a bit worried because again I was thinking. First of all, the narrative was like, "Oh, we'll give him until December. He'll be in then, and then we'll see if we improve in the second half of the season." I think we said that we're like, "Oh, we'll see if the results get better after Christmas." And I know we had all the cancellations and that kind of messed everything up, but I definitely think we're worse than we were.
Mentioned, I think.
The Patterson thing has had a big impact, but I think we've definitely gone. In general, we've had some good results and good performances, but in general, I think we've got worse. And that's a bit worrying because everyone says, and now it's turned into, right, let's give him next season, which I think is fair. Got to give him next season. But realistically, what is going to change between now and August? I know people say about like the transfer window. But then I was thinking, we've had Perot come in this season, and everyone says how good he is. He scored loads of goals. Obafemi is good. So I can't see him replacing those two unless one of them leaves. You've got Patterson, you've got Flynn Downs, and you've got Grimes. So unless obviously they get sold, they're not going to be replaced because that's our starting lineup. Apart from maybe 2 or 3 in the back 3, I don't see where we're going to change all that much.
He hasn't got anyone else other than the first team, though, is he? Like, you can't bring anyone on to change a game.
There's a huge lack of depth in that squad.
Constantly playing the same starting 11 every match, and you're saying about getting sussed out, but he can't change it because how can you change it? What do? You can't play anyone else, really. And maybe you just put in the players in a different formation, but doesn't always change it as much as what you need to. And sometimes you just need fresh legs. And there's been days where we definitely have needed fresh legs and we just haven't got that option. Or he doesn't trust the options in this system. So I do think maybe you're brushing over a little bit of stuff. Like, I know you were very frustrated after January, so you have to maybe take that into consideration with how we haven't improved so much in the second half of the season.
Yeah, I know we haven't got strength and depth. That's definitely a factor. But like the play, like the play is not improving. I know we haven't got strength and depth, and you can't change the game. But shouldn't we be seeing now like us getting better going into next season? Shouldn't we be starting to pick up now to take momentum into the next next year?
I agree with you, and I got some bits to say on that with some stats in regards to comparisons. So maybe it's a good time to put them in. But what I'll say before that is I think that I don't entirely agree with the fact that we're not getting better and we're getting worse. I think it's quite up and down. And I'll just take you back 3 or 4 weeks. I think the win over West Brom away and the home win against Coventry, we were definitely looking like we were getting better, and even going as far as to say the first half against Fulham, and then the red card of Ryan Manning brought us crashing back down. And what I think my point is, we seem to be a team that takes a long time to build the confidence up over a couple of games, but it doesn't take much to send it back down for us to have to start again to try and get it back up, if you get me. So like you could tell by the first half of the Fulham game, they were comfortable, they were actually playing all right, they were attacking decently. Maybe they weren't the most attacking against Fulham in the first half, but that was top of the table, so you can sort of say that's fair. But as soon as something bad happens and they end up getting thumped as a result of it, it's like all of a sudden they go to Blackpool and we look bad again. It's like it takes a while for them to get out of the system.
I know, but isn't that a worrying habit?
Well, that is a worrying thing. I just
Thing
don't
is as well,
think it's necessarily them getting bad. I think that's a different issue where you're struggling to sort of like leave that there.
What's
and
the
then
average
go back
age of
to
the
where we were
squad?
before. I haven't got that on me. We were looking at this the other day.
Because that's youngs. I know it's a young squad, and I don't know, confidence is going to be major. That's why you need experience.
We did have a look today, and I was surprised. Like Perot was only 22, and I
really
think
22.
Yeah, I know. It always shocks me when someone says.
Cullen.
My God, that's mental.
I know he just doesn't seem that young, does he?
No,
I think like Cabango's still really young, and Downs is really young. I think the squad is younger than I thought it was. So that is a factor as well.
Thing is as well, what also makes me nervous for next season. Look at the bottom teams now, right? Derby, 21-point deduction. If they had those 21 points, they'd be around us. Reading, I think, had a points deduction. They'd be around
9,
us.
I think.
So we would have been in and around that, maybe fighting for survival. I'm not saying we would have gone down, but with the pressure with that, and the squad is so young, it could have been even worse. So that's what kind of makes me nervous. If we don't strengthen in the summer, we have the same group of players, because you never know these Americans if they're going to back Martin or not. You just don't know. So that's one thing I'm thinking about in the summer. I'm dreading it. It's huge. It's either make or break, really, I think.
Yeah, it is. It is tough. Okay, so I've got stats here, and it's actually a little bit, it's like in order of like the youngest squad we've ever fielded to the oldest. Russell Martin's squad is 23.7. Okay, so Steve Cooper in 1920, his first year, fielded a team in one match that had an average age of 23.2. The next three were that was the second youngest Swans have ever fielded. Okay, the actual youngest was in 03-04 under Brian Flynn with an average age of 22.9. Just putting that out there. Okay, and then you got the one I just said about Steve Cooper, and then you've got 3 consecutive squads fielded by Graham Potter of 23.4, 23.5. Then there's one by Roberto Martinez in 08-09. Then you've got another 2 from Steve Cooper, and then Russell Martin. So he's about like 9th, 10th with his squads. His youngest squad age, that is. Obviously, it depends who he plays. And I guess if Bennett's in the team, for example, it goes up a bit. But yeah, he's in the like. If this is a long historic list, he's near the top end in terms of younger squad age. Yeah. But what you can say on the other side is Steve Cooper and Graham Potter had several of their first team squads higher up the list. So how much do you take that as a factor, is what I'm saying, because a lot of them would have been the same players as well, younger, or in Steve Cooper's, probably in Potter's squads, they were all the players after they come out to the youth academy, so they were all fresh. And then under Steve Cooper, you just factor in the likes of Ian Brewster and a couple of the other loan signings, which would have brought the average age down as well. Whereas maybe Andre Ayew and so would have balanced it in the other direction. But it's interesting. I mean, it is still pretty young, so I guess you get that tiny bit of credit there. But since we're cross-referencing, I'll talk about the stats I've got now then. So currently it's 37 games, but I've taken after 36 games, courtesy of something I saw on Twitter from Vital Swan, so I'll give them a shout out. But I looked into it just to sort of cross-check. I wanted to make sure that all the stats and facts were right before I talked about them, and they were all right. But after 36 games this season, we have got 47 points. Okay, so we've had 13 wins, 8 draws, 15 losses, and we sit 16th in the league. We've got like some games in hand on some teams, but regardless. Now, comparing to Graham Potter and 2 Steve Cooper seasons since we've come down. So in 2018-2019, Graham Potter, after 36 games, we had 13 wins, 8 draws, 15 losses, and we sat on 47 points, and we were 15th in the league with a couple of games in hand. Now, I just found that very interesting because for me, the narrative around and the like atmosphere and the way people think about Russell Martin is quite negative in a way. You know, people are losing faith and trust in the process, as you said earlier. Potter was pretty much in the same position in regards to points and how we were performing, I guess, in terms of, again, results. Maybe you think they were playing better. That's a different question. And apparently this season's been really turbulent. We're not really performing, but we're in the same sort of place in the league. And now at the end of that season, I think after this point onwards, Graham Potter kind of went on a bit of a resurgence and had a really good run. And we kind of touched the outside of the playoffs a little bit and had an outside chance going into the end of the season. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen this season, but I'm just saying at this point then, it hadn't happened yet. And then we kind of pushed on, and all of a sudden, everyone was gutted when he went in the summer because the second season would have been so much better because he's had a year to test this stuff to get everyone into the system. And now we were excited about what he could do in his second year. So arguably, you could say Russell Martin could have that as well. You know, the second season could be so much better for the same reasons. Now, comparing him to Steve Cooper, in Cooper's first season, after 36 games, they were on 52 points, which is only 5 more points, 13 wins again, but he made us harder to beat. So we had 13 draws and 10 defeats, and then he carried that on again in the second season. And it was a far better return with 69 points, but obviously we were at that stage third in the league. And if you compare it back further, we were actually on a better points total by, I think, 6 points than when we went up under Brendan Rodgers. So perhaps that shows how much we bottled it, but there we are. That's another conversation again. But yeah, what do you make of these statistics? Because it doesn't show that Martin's doing that much worse than, or any worse than Potter, and that much worse than Cooper in his first season. And I would argue the players that both of those had at their disposal in those 2 years, probably on the balance overall, they were better teams. Nothing to say, boys.
No, I was going to say, I think on the on the Potter thing, I'm surprised they were on the same points, but also I like you touched on, Potter did then. We really picked up after Christmas and then, well, sort of around about this time into the end of the year, like you said. And when he left, we were like, when we finished that season, we were so confident the next year we were going to be like pushing because we had just improved and improved and improved. We looked so sharp at the end of the year. Like Dan James was on fire and McBurney, and they were scoring goals and they were playing unbelievable football. If you think like was it like January time that we should have beaten Man City? So it was like after Christmas that we just really like took off. I think like leading up to Christmas and November time we were struggling a bit. But this is what I'm saying. I'm not seeing that yet. I'll asterisk it. I'm not seeing that massive projection. So what I was saying earlier is I really want to see that push now going into next season for me to be confident that we are going to be better next season, which is exactly what we had in the Potter. Because we were the end of that season was class. We were playing some unbelievable football under Potter. It was such a shame when he left at that time.
They had a massive boost with the performance they put in against Man City and the FA Cup run they had, which that could have been a factor where, you know, that as much as we lost that game, they played so well that, you know, must have had a good positive outcome.
Yeah, I will. I'll also say as well, you might disagree with me on this, but I think that the championship this year is quite poor. I mean, if you look
100% agree. Yeah.
Like you look at the teams at the bottom, like let's take Derby out because obviously they had the points deduction, but Peterborough and Barnsley and teams like they're awful. Reading are awful.
You say this, Peterborough went and beat QPR the other day, so maybe we're not giving them as much credit as we should.
No, I know, but even though teams in and around us in the middle of the table, like Blackpool are above us.
It's just the whole league,
not,
isn't it?
Luton
one of the
third.
standout teams.
And don't forget as well, Barnsley again. We're saying Barnsley are awful, but we were also in the playoffs with them last year. So if they've managed to go from playoff contender where we actually knocked them out to relegation, what stops us? Why are we entitled to not be the same?
Well, exactly. We could have a horrific season next year and be like it could have happened this year. I mean, a couple of results going the other way, and you said like without the points deductions, we could be closer to that bottom three.
Yeah.
But no, just the point I'm making is like I think the season, Potter's first season and Cooper's first season, I think the championship was really, really competitive. I think now it's like not that it's poor, but nobody's taking a foothold. You've got Fulham and Bournemouth are gone, obviously with all the money they spent. But that like playoff picture, like Blackburn were third, pushing for promotion like weeks ago. Now it's like Luton, Huddersfield were there. It's just like nobody's quite good enough, I don't think, just to sort of stamp like a promotion chase. I think that middle pack from like say maybe even third where Luton are down to like where we are. I don't think anybody's necessarily as good as each other.
Again,
or better or worse than each other.
I've got the league up from the Potter season here from 36 game mark for Swans. So we had 2 games in hand on a lot of the field. From first, where Norwich are first to 78 points, you had Sheffield United, Leeds, and West Brom. West Brom had 67. And then in 5th place is Middlesbrough, and they're on 58. So there's a bit of a gap there. And obviously at this time, Swans were on 47, so they were only 11 points off Middlesbrough. So it's not really too different in terms of points to maybe where Middlesbrough actually are now. They're on 59. It's pretty much a similar thing, but they're in 7th now. So I think a little bit, I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong, but a little bit it's like this is fresh in the memory. Potter's like, we look back on that as first season we come down, there's a lot of good memories from that season. They did play some exciting football. But it's hard. I think it's hard to get an accurate comparison when it comes to like stuff like the quality of the league. You know, you had people like West Brom, Leeds, Norwich last season who did put in a really good season. But then Fulham and Bournemouth could be, they're quite similar now. The squad Sheffield United have got is a Premier League squad. They're only playing catch up a bit later on in the season. And West Brom should just be doing better. For example, they're the ones that came down last season. In terms of the players, again, Premier League squad. What I was trying to say is like Graham Potter's team was technically one of those teams the year we came down. We had half a Premier League squad there, and he was trying to change the style of play, and it took him a while to do it. And it did come later on in the season when we had that resurgence. But I would argue we had far better players to implement that style. Whereas Potter's perhaps Martin's got a harder job of implementing a similar style because the group of players he's got is perhaps not as good on the whole. I know some of them are the same, but on the whole, there are players, Leroy Fer, I know he got injured for the last part, but that's just, he's a player that was a mainstay in our Premier League years. For example, you had Mike van der Horn at the back. Just remembering off the top of my head now, there's probably a couple more there I've missed out. But yeah, I think there's a lot of factors there. That Bertrand Selina, someone that he signed, I think we could really use someone like that now. That would be very helpful to solving our attacking issues. I don't know what you think of that. Like, I think he's a sort of player that would do well at the moment.
How's he doing at Ipswich now?
Don't really pay attention, I'll be honest. But he did score a nice goal earlier this season, did he? No.
I think he was a bit hit and miss here, wasn't he, Bertrand Selina? He scored that rocket against, in the FA Cup, Gillingham, I think. Like 25 yards. He's capable of doing that. I think we need someone like that.
That's what I mean. I think he's capable of thriving in a system that he can just get on the ball and do what he wants. So if you gave him a role where he could do that, a bit like what Patterson does, so him and Patterson together behind the striker.
Yeah. If you take Patterson out to that side, there's no creativity whatsoever.
Exactly. So like, who else is there? So someone like that in the squad, and it keeps Patterson perhaps on his toes a bit if he's underperforming.
That comes down to the owners, doesn't it? If they're going to back him.
Well, we'll talk about just Martin this time. Maybe we're saying he's more back in and he needs more transfer windows, but
I think I'm just having one of them days where it's just I'm just not feeling it today.
Yeah, like I do agree with a lot of what you're saying. I'm just trying to put
I
the
think
big
it's
context
just
out there. So
I know it's just a different. I know I get what you're saying as well. It does make sense. I'm just thinking, just going back to like the Potter thing again, like saying how good we were, like towards the back end of the season. But we had some big results on the way as well. I remember we had Leeds really early on in the season, and I know it's not fair because Martin didn't have a pre-season, but we had Leeds like I think it was like the second game of the season midweek. I can't remember. I think it was 2-2. I think it was.
Oh yeah.
But I was thinking, oh my god, like we're on to something here. Like it just seemed to be.
I haven't seen that this
did we
season.
go away and win 1-0, or was that in Cooper's first year?
It's Cooper, that was.
That was Cooper and Routledge scored last minute. But I just remember there were just so many big results that we had. This, like I said this year, my assessment is that I think it's been a bad season overall, with a few good performances in there. That's what I think. I don't know if you two wanna
Like
what you think of the season.
The games I've been to, I can't come away saying we played well. I think we rode our luck, and the other sides are just as bad. Like Bristol City, for example, won 3-1. On paper, that looks really good. But the performance as a whole, first half was terrible. Second half, I think we've just a bit better than Bristol City. I think they're poor as well. But like you said, the league is poor this year. And I think we have rode our luck quite a bit. But we have got the results. But I remember Blackburn as well. How many sitters they must knock him? We did have a man sent off. We did dig in, yeah. I just think there's a bit of fortune there as well.
I'd argue the league was poor last year though, and that's why we were up in third for much of it.
I think this could probably be wrong as well, but I think if we had last season this year, I think we get promoted. I think
if we had a striker last year, we get promoted.
Yeah,
to be honest,
maybe.
Yeah,
I think like post-COVID as well, I think has had a massive effect this season because that, like we said, like Bournemouth and Fulham are gone because of the money they've been able to spend, and I think you just got everyone else who hasn't spent money.
To be honest,
and I think it's just a massive mix in there.
You're saying about last season, we had 69 points at this time, yeah? So I'm looking at the table, Bournemouth on 36 games. They're on 69 points. We would have been joint second with them. Perhaps a straight fight for second place, but then we know what happened. We fell off and didn't get much at all from this point onwards last year. So
yeah, we massively fell off.
So whether that would have happened now. Again, like I don't. I'm not saying that we're having the best season ever, but I kind of set my expectations in line for what's happening. So I'm finding it fine to deal with, to be honest. I know a lot of people are struggling, but I fully expected a mid-table finish before the season. We're in mid-table right now. We're literally where I thought we were going to be. And I said we need to give him at least a year to implement what he wants, get him a couple of transfer windows, and then see what he can do. Because I don't think it's fair to ask for a complete overhaul of the system and then start saying after a couple of months it's not working. And if you look at some of the most successful teams who've gone up, they built stuff over time, not the ones like Yo-Yo, all the other ones that perhaps sneak in. It takes a couple of years. Like Luton, obviously, they went back to their previous manager and they've grafted their way up now and in third. It takes a bit of time. You get a system that works. You work harder to get players to suit it, and now they're up in third. So
can you imagine?
You look at Brentford. Brentford took ages. They built a massive infrastructure and a way the club is run, and eventually it paid off for them. So if you've got to be patient with certain things, and we've asked for this style of football as a whole, as a fan base. I'm not saying everyone individually did. People wanted Cooper gone for whatever reasons, and we wanted something similar to what we got now. So we've got to let it sort of be built. And if you did get rid of Martin now, what are you going to do? I
won't get rid of him now. No.
Get Allardyce at the end of the season just to we're not going to go down anyway. I know you're saying this because of deductions, whatever. If that is the case, that's the case. Maybe we got lucky in regards to that. So we're not actually fighting for relegation. So we may as well just try and see what works and what doesn't work for the rest of the season, and then finish where we finish. Even if they should be planning for the summer now, who they're going to get in. It sounds like from Martin's comments in his interviews that they are.
Yeah,
they fully know what positions they want to improve. He's come out quite a few times or made out like a few of them Swans players are they're not going to be here. They know they're not going to be here, and like there's an understanding that they haven't been good enough under him, or there's a game or two where he's come out afterwards and said like, yeah, these guys are going to be lucky to put on a shirt again. So we just got to see what happens and see if he can put his money where his mouth is in a way and improve next season. Going back to the start, like Graham Potter and Steve Cooper, I think all 3 seasons we had really good starts to the year, and we were always in the playoff picture for the early part of the season. In the first 2 seasons, first Potter and the Cooper season, over Christmas period, we kind of lost our way a bit. And I think even under Potter, there was some quite dismal performances in that period where people were getting frustrated. You could say this season was I would say quite similar if you take away the first 8 games of the season. So you bear in mind he didn't have a pre-season. Take off the first 8 games, call that your pre-season because it wasn't very good. We had like 1 or 2 points from draws, I think. And then we had some really good form, and that was around the time where we had the Cardiff game. We had a couple of wins on the bounce. And then we went into a bit of a rut again before we had all the COVID and stuff around Christmas. So we will be interested to see if we can come out of it the other side now, going after Easter, and see if we can end the season quite positively. But then if you take all that into consideration, I think it's been quite similar. And the last thing I want to say on it, I know you two are saying at the moment you feel quite deflated with our form. But in the last 6 games, it's 3 wins, 1 draw, and 2 losses. So on paper, it's not even that bad.
It's papering over the cracks, isn't it?
Maybe it is, but at the end of the day, that's where you get the points for, and then that's where you need to build on. So it doesn't matter how you get. There's been other games, other times that we've lost that we shouldn't have lost. So the bottom line is we got the points for those games. Some of them, and I don't think the West Brom game and the Coventry game were necessarily bad performances. I think the West Brom away performance was really good. And the Coventry game as well. The second half was perhaps a bit poor, but I think we were getting a bit like confident then and making mistakes because of that. And even the first half of the Fulham game, as I said, I thought we looked like the team that was higher up the table for the first half until our red card. So I've seen there the style can work when the players are fully in the right place. It can do well for us. But then the other extreme is when they're not, or when they're tired a little bit, or off the pace just a little bit, it can be also then really bad. So it's about how does he fix that problem for me, and that's what the big thing is that I'm looking for. But I don't necessarily think the system's bad and it's not working. I've seen signs that it can go in the right direction.
Yeah, it can definitely work. Like I said, we've seen signs of it. We've had some good performances this year. Sorry, but and I'm not saying get rid of him because I definitely want him there because what he's trying to do, trying to do the right thing, and I want to see that going into next year. But it's just me being a bit not overconfident, shall we say? Because, like I said, I just thought give him like a season, he'll get going, we'll get better. And now I'm just getting a little bit twitchy because I'm thinking if this sort of form, if this sort of performance level carries on into the beginning of the next season, then I think there will be major questions then because he's pinned it on next year. He's been saying it all the time now. I can't wait to see us in a year. I can't wait to see us in a year. He has to perform next year now. If we say, for example, we lose the first 3 or 4 games next season, it's gonna be really tense.
Yeah,
just because he's made a rod for his own back, I think. But I will say, like, I'm not being like really negative because I think he can do it. I'm quite confident with the way he's trying to play football. But I am getting a bit twitchy because I want to, like, we'll see after Easter now. Like we said, I want to see us getting better. I haven't seen that probably yet, like fully. I haven't seen like we're improved now. It's all up and down, and yeah, we'll see what happens after the international break. And I think unfairly as well, it's a bad time to play Cardiff because if they beat us and they'll go above us, then the fan base will implode, which is probably wrongly. But if we
beat them and get the first double over, he's bought himself another season. So
that'll be typical Swans now to go and play well at Cardiff.
Well, I mean, look, if he wants to make a statement about how this can work, then best time to do it.
I think with me, after witnessing Saturday, I just felt so deflated coming out to there. I thought, what a waste of time watching that because there was literally nothing going on. It was really flat. We did look a bit leggy, but again, there's no depth in the squad, so that's not his fault really. But like I said, it's easy to
They
play
struggle
against
when
us
there's
at the
3
minute.
matches in a week. We've said this all season. They can't do it.
Yeah, Birmingham,
Yeah.
they're a poor side. If they had a striker, they could have won 5-0 easy and there'd be no complaints. They miss some really good chances. We're lucky to get a point in the end. But I don't know, I think Saturday just deflated me seeing that. I've never been so bored watching a game. But hopefully the only way's up from there because they can't get any worse.
Probably didn't help Patterson getting injured in the warm-up.
No, that was a massive blow, that was. Yeah.
Yeah.
That comes back to what we were saying earlier. There's not really anyone there that... I know we got Wolf there. He came in obviously from left wing back, but it looks like he's been training for left wing back for the last month and a half. So it's tricky to just go and ask him now all of a sudden to go and create some chances, like in a different kind of fashion, which is what he was brought in for in the first place. But then, yeah, we had 6 subs as well as a result of that, didn't he? So say we want to change the game in the second half, and I guess we have kind of moved into talking about the games now, which is fine. But say we want to change the game in the second half, you've got Ben Hamer, Cameron Congreve, Joe Latabodia, Jay Felton, Ogbeta, and Kyle Joseph. Like, yeah, there's a couple there. There's a couple there. You're like, yeah, Ogbeta, Joseph, they're young, they need some time. But
he plays Joseph at wing back half the time. Whenever I've seen him, he's a striker.
He just, well, again, it's because there's no one there. It's
that
like,
Ogbeta, he looked lively when he came out on Saturday. I'll give him that.
But it's not like a big player
about
there to be like, right, yeah, bring him on now. We need to change the game, bit of pace for like this, that, the other. It's just quite like, yeah, okay, kind of just need fresh legs, I guess.
Yeah, we do need a bench, definitely. We need a bench.
Nothing to
but I think in our starting lineup's probably not far off what he wants. Might probably 2 with the back 3, maybe either side of Norton. Might be different, but he brought his goalkeeper in. If he can get Christie to stay, he's brought Ogbeta in, so he'll ease him into the squad.
Yeah, but I don't know if Ogbeta is going to be his first choice. Like, if he has the option of bringing in another left wing back that's a little bit more, I don't know, he's had more experience, I think he will. We need 2, don't we?
I think he will.
A Ryan man in his head is a centre back, so we've only got 1.
Yeah.
So Ogbeta might not be he might be like the second choice. He's young, isn't he, as well? So like, he might be first choice probably if he does well. But if the opportunity to come bring someone in the summer that's like going to do that job to a T, it might be another left back that comes in. I think there's a couple of positions. I'm not sure Ben Cabango is asserted of his place next season. Finley Byrne has played against Birmingham. That's another one. So there's 2 centre backs, as you said. Manning maybe sees him there, but I don't necessarily think.
I think Ryan Bennett
he's reliable. Yeah, Bennett would be on. I think Manning is a bit of a loose cannon, so
yeah,
his passing's not good enough for me as well. Grimes and Downs obviously will stay, but Downs has been sniffed by Leeds. Corey Smith, I think he's Mr. Versatile, so I don't think he's first team for like when the project's complete. And again, up in attack, and Cham, brought him in a free transfer to get some depth now. But if someone comes in more creative, then Cham's not going to be starting for me. And yeah, you've got like Perot and Obafemi perhaps to fight for the striker role. But then if in some games he wants to play them both, is Kyle Joseph the third choice? Is that good enough? Or does he need someone else just as on the same level as those 2 so he can rotate them? I think there's quite a few players that he needs to get in to like make it work. And then Patterson again, like he's been off the boil, I think, recently again, hasn't he? Like he was before January.
Hasn't been the same, has he? Yeah.
And what if he goes in the summer? Because I mean, I'm sure something will come back up about that.
Yeah, but this is it. This is what I mean. You can't always. This is probably just the mood I'm in again, so don't tag me as too negative. But like, this happens. There's going to be turnover again in the summer. I'd be surprised if we keep everyone, Downs, Perot, Patterson. I'd be surprised if they're all there at the start of the season. So, and we're not going to have. No club has got tons of money to bring players in. Maybe he wants different types of players, which I get. But then you're asking players to play a really hard style of play. Like I know we've done it in the past, but the game has moved on quite a bit where you're asking these players to do more. And I'm not sure there's many players in the market that can play this level of football at that level.
I don't know if the formation is the best for what he's trying to do when he's playing 3 at the back.
Yeah, I don't really. The two behind, one up front. I'm not really sure what he actually wants to do there. This is going to be something we were going to come on to as well. Like, you've got Perot and Obafemi. Do you need to start one of them?
Well, we asked this last time,
know.
and then they both went and scored against Peterborough, didn't they? And it was like made me look a bit silly. But yeah, okay, they both scored. But then, is it the best way of getting the best out of both of them? I don't know if it is.
I'm not convinced, because I think if you have them both in, like, we haven't got any creativity in the side to give them the service.
Yeah, no one to give them a service, and no one to come on off a bench and change the game either, and no one to keep them on their toes. So, like, if one of them stops performing, then, well, Cal Joseph scored 4 in the youth team the other day. Does he get a proper chance up front? Because I don't know how good he is. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I haven't seen enough to say, yeah, he could be someone in the future, or like, no, he's just not going to make it. I think we need more width, and he tries to provide it with the wing backs, but ultimately the way that we defend, it just leaves us exposed. So I'd much rather go back to a traditional back four, playing the passing football. If we're going to go down this route and this style like we were successful with in the past, go back to the back four, have the width through traditional wingers, and have one striker in the middle.
We're definitely missing wingers. Like pace, just genuine pace in that
There's
team.
no pace, is there? There's no one to like run up there and attack people. Hans Wolf did it a couple of times when he first got signed, when he was put in that, but I haven't seen much of that since he's moved to a more wing back position, which is a shame.
That's definitely a problem. It just gives you another option, like you said. When teams camp in and just let us pass the ball around, you need something different. You need someone who can run at players and take them on, especially in the wide areas, get a cross in. Perot's in there, Obafemi's in there. Yeah, that's definitely something that we're missing that he might do going forward. But going back, I'm not sure if he is going to get the players that he wants, all of them. So can he next year? Can he still say like, I still haven't got the players that I need?
Yeah, but you won't get him in the next transfer window. But that's why I said it's going to take to get like the completed project. It will take a couple. You just want to see progression. So like, maybe that's all I'm asking for. Won't be a playoff fight, but if it's top half, then that's the right direction, isn't it? So,
and that's probably a good debate to have. Like, what are our expectations for next season with the way that we are? And I don't expect us to really be in.
It's going to be a slow rebuild, isn't it? I think we all know that.
Oh yeah.
Plus, it's dangerous perhaps to even go up too fast at this point. Because then imagine you went up with this squad, which I know people were saying this last year. Like they would have to buy quite a few players, really, or we'd. Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean it'd be tricky. Like I think people said Cooper would have got eaten alive in the Prem. I think his style of play last year would have done better than what we're doing now because his defensive, and when you built upon defense, you can always nick a 1-0 win. But when we're trying to outplay teams and we're going to go up to Man City and try and pass them off the park, like that would, it's going to be tough. Like I think Graham Potter's passing game was far more, like a little bit more exciting. But then he had more exciting players. He had
Dan James, players to do anything with him.
And like he had the four at the back, so he had wingers. I don't think Dan James was Potter. I think he came under Cooper.
No, Potter.
No, Dan James was Potter.
Potter, he came through under him,
Yeah.
I'm lying. Was it when we went to Birmingham that he made like his debut and he was crap?
Yeah, that was the start, right at the beginning of Potter's season. He was a bit lightweight, wasn't he? Okay. He got battered, didn't he, a bit? But
second half of the season when he came into
second half of the season,
on fire then,
Yeah, so but he had the pace, he had the excitement like that. But we haven't got anyone like a Dan James. I don't even think anyone like a McBurney. I know the two strikers are scoring, but there's no one like with that sort of fire in them.
I don't know much about this youngster. What's his name? Koniev, is it? Or something?
Concrieve. And he's meant to be quite good and exciting for the future, but he's just made his debut, hasn't he? But I think part of why Potter perhaps it came good at the end of the season as well. A lot of these players he brought in from the academy had played with each other for so long. It was just now at first team level. So they just had to, they knew how to play with each other. They just had to adapt to the higher standard of league. And when they did in the second half of the season, it was already clicked. There was already a bond there. There were already like a lot of camaraderie there. And you knew, the McBurney, Dan James, Connor Roberts, Rodon kind of little click they had going. Everyone was gutted to see that get broken up when McBurney and James moved on, and then eventually Rodon and eventually Connor Roberts. But
if we
we
had
don't have
someone
anything like that now, do we? We don't have
we
anything like that.
We're absolutely crying out for a defender like Rodon now, though, and like.
I don't know why we don't put a cheeky loan bid in for him this summer. He's not going to game the Spurs. I think he'd come back in, no problem.
Wages he's probably on like a stupid amount now.
They didn't. I don't know why they didn't do that when they sold him, because they had no real intention of playing him, did they? So they should have bought him and loaned him back to us. Didn't make any sense. But I will say, like, everyone keeps. We're going off topic a bit, but everyone keeps moaning like, "Oh, why is he not playing? Why is he not playing? Like, it's ridiculous. Like, why is he not playing for Spurs?" Like, I don't think he was good enough to play at that level yet.
He
Was he
wasn't
when he
that
left
level,
us?
no.
But then you've got 3 managers who come into Spurs. You've had like Mourinho was there when he went, then Nuno was there, now Conte's there, and all 3 of them haven't really played him. So there must be something missing that they don't want. I think he could get to that level, no doubt, because he's class. But I think if he went to someone like, just say Brighton, because Potter's there, if he went there for a season, I think he would be really good, and then he could push on. But I don't think he's ready yet.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But, yeah, that's
Connor
just
Roberts to Burnley, innit? You can't really get much game time.
We went off a bit topic there, but yeah. I'd love to have someone like that. We need someone like that at the back, I think.
Burnley's not doing that too good since he left either, is he? So
and Brewster's like quiet.
Grass isn't greener, is it?
It's always the same. I mean, probably some of the exceptions are Gallagher and Guéhi.
Yeah.
They both in England caps now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Made in Swansea, just saying.
Yeah.
That Hull game has made that Guéhi, like, he's going to be class because of that Hull game. They're like, the stick he got after that and what he had to go through, he wasn't good enough. And
that was his debut, wasn't it, for us?
Yeah, and it was horrible for him. And everyone was like, oh my God, what is this guy? And now he's got an England cap, or now he's going to get an England cap. So, look, thank us later. Maybe send us someone else as a gift, Maybe we'll have like Tomori or something when he comes back from Italy on loan.
Yeah, there's a few players out there, I think.
Tammy Abrams.
Get another.
Is he on loan or is he gone?
He's gone.
I think he's on loan, isn't he? Oh, he's gone, is he?
Gone, isn't he? I'm sure he has.
I'm not sure.
I might be wrong.
Yeah. Birmingham then. Let's just was there any major chances to talk about?
God.
For them,
loads for Birmingham.
Sitter, was it?
Chong,
Swans,
yeah.
TikTok admin taking the mick out of that.
They had a couple of opportunities from some corners, which I don't know how they missed.
Well, there are quite a few shots. I looked at like first half stats and they didn't have much, but 16 shots in it.
If I was a Birmingham fan, I'd be fuming that we didn't win it. They had that many chances, clear-cut chances. They had a decent striker. We would have lost that easy.
Funny thing though, I noticed we're all about like our bench and signings and all this stuff, and the board gets stick. Yeah, they got stick when they didn't sign Ryan Woods. You can't even get in Birmingham's team.
Yeah, he fell off a cliff, didn't he?
Next big thing, wasn't he? Apparently.
That's what I'm saying. And now he's sitting on the bench at Birmingham. It's funny how he was going to suit Potter's passing football style so well. But
we'll never know.
Was it Potter? Was it?
I think it was Potter. I think he was pushing for that Woods, wasn't he? He ended up going to Stoke, wasn't it?
Or was it Cooper?
No, it was Potter.
No, I think it was Potter, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so Potter, but then he went to Stoke and now he's at Birmingham under Lee Boyer.
He was playing for Millwall for a bit as well, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, he went there with Rowett, didn't he?
Yeah.
From Stoke.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting one that. But yeah, I think Hansworth had a couple of opportunities, or at least he could play the ball into the box, but it just wasn't.
I think he had one chance. He went through, but he kind of dragged it across the goal.
Yeah,
so that's all I can remember from him.
Not great from the Swans. Not really much to talk about, but there's more to talk about in the Peterborough away game, where I think it's fair to say the first half performance. You and John actually, Lee, were really happy with the first half performance. I know you're really deflated today, but you were there half time, especially after we scored, saying that we actually battered them in the first half, and it should have taken us a lot sooner to score the first goal. And now that we've gone in 1-0 up, we're going to go and knock a couple more past them because they were that bad.
Yeah, I thought it was so frustrating because I know Blackpool did it to a certain extent, but never seen anything like that with Peterborough. They literally were back from minute one, and Fisher was able to walk up to nearly halfway without being contested. I've never seen anything like it. But then just think we needed to get that goal. We desperately needed that first goal, and I thought when that first goal went in and they worked it well and they scored, I thought, here we go, we're ticking now. Yeah, and then I don't know what happened then. I know Martin was tamping with it, wasn't he? That somehow we fell off a cliff and we were 2-1 down. After all that first half, how were we 2-1 down? I just, yeah.
So we had 17 shots to 5 in that game and we won it 3-2. It's like the classic FIFA, isn't it, where you can't score and the other team comes down and scores in their first attack. But I mean, I guess what you can say is if we should never have gone behind in that game.
Yeah.
Very annoying that we did so, and poor defending, or we gave the ball away in the corner for one of them, didn't we? And it was a bit of an ugly, scruffy goal where it kind of hit someone's knee.
Yeah.
I think Norton slipped, didn't he, when he had to clear it?
But unlucky, but the fact that we gave it away in the first place, we shouldn't have been in that situation. I think someone mentioned how, but come on, the pitch was the fact that the pitch was awful. It was yeah, okay, granted it was, I agree. But I think the important thing here is, when we go 1-0 up, if the pitch is that bad, then we change our game to defend the 1-0. We don't keep trying to play on it and end up making mistakes. That's what I think anyway. If the pitch is that much of a factor where if we had lost the game, the pitch was going to be used as an excuse. When you go ahead, you take that excuse away and you stop playing on it. At least in your own half, not around our box. If it's so bad where a pass can easily go astray or bobble up and something could happen, then all right, when you're in our third of the pitch, you just get rid of it because the pitch is not working. We can't play passive football on this. It's too much risk where we're going to lose the ball in a dangerous position. So we play higher up the pitch. We'll try our game up there where it's less risk, but down here is too much risk. That's what I think. That's how they should have managed it. But so I don't think that should be an excuse after going 1-0 up. But I will say credit where credit due. Going 2-1 down, I think a lot of people expected us to fold, and we managed to come back and get a win, and that is a good thing to see because Peterborough obviously are fighting for their lives down the bottom. So when they're in that position, you'd expect them to fight for their lives to keep it. And their form's not been awful. They got a draw against Stoke and they've just beaten QPR as well on the weekend. So maybe we need to take a bit more context and say, okay, we did okay really to win in the end, but we made it hard for ourselves.
Oh yeah, definitely made it hard for ourselves.
Should have won that.
Imagine we lost that game.
Yeah.
Well, there would have been riots, wouldn't there? But
this is what worries me though. So this again, it's there's another trait that we have that we tend to just. There could be times in games where we just absolutely implode. It's happened so many times this season. Peterborough was one there where we just we did do well to come back into the game to turn it around. To be fair, in that game.
Was that because of how poor they are or how good we were?
Well, I just said they just beat QPR. They come up from the League One. It's always a tough league to stay in your first time. It is tough to stay up your first time, but you get it. We always struggle against teams on the bottom. We did in the Premier League, especially playing this style of football. Teams that sit back and do a low block. We have always struggled against that style of football. That's why we got so many big results against the likes of Arsenal, because they don't play that way or didn't play that way, and that suited us more.
Yeah, actually, yeah. No, it is fair because it's going to happen now for years. If we're going to play this football, it's always going to happen. Is teams are going to come to us, or even when we go away, they're just going to sit in. But then it's fair enough if we get, and they always say if you can get that first goal, they've got to come out, and then that's when we can pick them off.
Yeah.
But it seems like we go 1-0 up, and then teams come at us, and we just seem to look a bit lost. Then we concede 1, we concede 2, and it's oh my god, what's going on? And sometimes we haven't been able to turn it around.
And I think that second half shows the highs and the lows of this system, and where it can work and where it can be horribly bad.
Yeah.
It'll be entertaining anyway. It won't be dull.
Yeah, I mean, we're scoring more goals than we did last year, aren't we? So, and that's what everyone was moaning about. Oh, we can't keep grinding at 1-0 and 1-0s and 0-0s, and well, now we've got 3-2s and still not happy.
apart from Saturday was 0-0 and it was a bit boring. I don't think we've had many boring games, have we?
No.
Our games have been really high scoring, haven't they?
You should never know what you're going to get there.
No. So yeah, look, it's turbulent. I made one of the thumbnails we did a couple of weeks ago was all of Swans players riding a roller coaster. That is what it's been this season, and I think it might carry on for the rest of the year. We've obviously got a big game coming up now after the international break, which unfortunately the other team has had an extra couple of days to prepare for because they had a cancellation. Let's hope it doesn't work in their favour. But Russell Martin will have a chance to make history and perhaps win over some of his doubters or buy himself a little bit more credit, if you like. We'll probably do an episode next week, I think, on obviously Swansea versus Cardiff and the fact you can't watch it anywhere. Maybe, Lee, I guess you tried to get tickets today. Maybe that's something we can touch on before we end today.
I did manage to get them in the end.
Yeah?
Yeah,
or is
so
the
I will.
system
I
like
will.
this, or people complaining?
No, it's carnage. It's just like I think it crashed, and in the morning, and then. But what they did was they had like you look at the event and it says like I don't know Swans versus Cardiff, and you just click on it and click how many tickets you want. But they separated it out into about 20 different events. So it was like adult ticket, senior ticket, child ticket, and then it was like different seating because Cardiff have got like the safe standing thing in the away end. So then they had another block of like different events, and then I think it was only when the Swans tweeted saying there's only the like safe standing left that you had to go and find like the adult safe standing bit, and there was tickets there. So it's like that but it just didn't need to be that complicated.
So what tickets have you got?
I'm in the safe standing thing or whatever it is, like the rail standing.
How many tickets is there per person then? Season ticket?
One.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it was only one, and if you had so many points as well for I think there's so many points allocated for different games.
Yeah.
I don't know how many.
No chance.
I don't know how many they've given to us though. We got like 2,000 or something. I'm not sure. I got a feeling they might release more.
I can't go anyway because I can't get off work. But for that, you're gonna have to be out inside Scoop Lee, get some good footage and pictures, and hopefully have a good day after.
Yeah. Hopefully do the double.
Maybe you can get some photos of the Scran. That's the trendy thing at the moment, isn't it?
The Scran, yeah. Yeah.
Legoland Scran. There we are. Hashtag. But yeah, we'll talk about Cardiff game next week. Obviously international break, so maybe we can have a look at what Wales are doing and then have a look at the derby and get a bit worked up for it before what probably ultimately is going to be disappointment. As I mean, no team's ever done a double, so I guess the bookies' probability is going to be on that being a repeat because it will be the first time if it happens. But one day I'm sure one of us will be celebrating. It's going
to happen. Trust the process.
Let's hope that is. Look, maybe the fact that everyone's so down about the style of play in the season, this could be what.
Like I said, typical Swans to go and put on a performance now and do the double.
It could be the turning point.
Yeah.
It could be the start of
something
magical.
By the time we do the next video, or the one after the Cardiff video,
Lee
we could have done the
Martin
double.
Russell Martin. He'll be wearing Russell Martin on his t-shirt.
I will be if he does the double anyway.
We'll all be with Russell Martin masks, like just celebrating. But yeah, I think that's been just over an hour, so we'll call it a day here. Unless you've got anything else to add, anything else to say, Sean, about the season, but Martin?
No, I think give him a chance next season. I think I'm not Martin out at the minute, so I think summer's make or break. See who he brings in if he's backed, and we'll see how he starts.
I heard he wants to bring in another keeper, so I'm sure we'll be all right.
Another one.
No, to be fair, I'll give context because I know some people were getting annoyed at that. Hamer's out of contract, isn't he? And Bender apparently is happy with first team football and doesn't want to go back to being on the bench. So we will need another keeper in that case.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I don't think it's a first team keeper. I think it's like someone for the bench that's happy to be there because Hamer ain't going to sign a new contract, is he, after he's been dropped?
I think he's done the right time, huh?
Yeah, he has, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to be on the bench.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see what happens.
My little summary was just that I'm not Martin out either. Not nowhere near
Look
that.
at them all backtracking,
But I
here,
think
guys. Like,
he needs a
not
chance.
backtracking. But what I'm saying is,
Not
what I'm saying is,
backtracking.
he hasn't done anything to make me overly confident about next season yet.
Yeah.
give it to Alan Curtis till the end of the season, is it?
Oh God, yeah.
MBE, no?
That's always the plan. Oh yeah, me.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, boys. Thanks, Sean, for coming.
Thanks for
Don't
having me.
forget, everyone, if you are still here at this point, thank you. And subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate it. It helps us grow. We're trying to hit 500. We'll do a giveaway when we get there. So help us get there, and you'll be in with a chance of probably winning maybe like next season's Swans kit if we get there in time. So hopefully, if we get it at the right time, it'll be like on launch day or something. But we'll see what happens with that. Let us know in the comments what you thought about everything we said. Give us your little mini how Russell Martin is doing review. And we shall see you in the next video. Thanks for watching and have a good one.
See you soon.